Jean Piaget was born in 1896 in Switzerland. From an early age, he was interested in biology and the natural world. Before Piaget became interested in psychology, he trained in natural history and philosophy, receiving a doctorate in 1918 from the University of Neuchâtel.
After finishing his PhD, Piaget moved to Paris, France, to work with Alfred Binet. While studying under Binet, Piaget became interested in the intellectual development of children. This led him to begin his research on the developmental stages of the human child. Based on his findings, he concluded that children were just as intelligent as adults. However, they think differently.
From 1925 to 1929, Piaget was professor of psychology, sociology, and the philosophy of science at the University of Neuchâtel. He married his later developed cognitive theory with his epistemological views as genetic epistemology, and eventually created the International Center for Genetic Epistemology based in Geneva in 1955.
A basic concept of Piaget's theory is schemas. Schemas enable the transition from one developmental stage to another. Piaget considered them the building blocks of intelligent behavior and essentially are how humans organize the knowledge that they take in.
There is a dichotomy between equilibrium and disequilibrium that promotes the creation of new schemas. Equilibrium is the state of cognitive or mental balance when children become capable of explaining what they perceive. It is believed to be the state that moves development along. Piaget believed development did not occur at a steady rate, but in leaps and bounds. Equilibrium occurs when a child's schemas can deal with new information presented through assimilation.
Disequilibrium is something that occurs when a child cannot fit new information into an existing schema, so the child accommodates by making a new schema. When new information is acquired, the new schema will continue until another accommodation needs to be made. Assimilation uses an existing schema to deal with a new object or situation. Accommodation happens when the existing schema doesn't work anymore, and the child needs to create a new schema to deal with a new object or situation.
Each child goes through 4 developmental stages in the same order, with no stage being left out. The 4 stages of Piaget's developmental theory are sensoromotor, which occurs at 0 to 2 years, pre-operational at 2 to 7 years, concrete operational at 7 to 11 years, and formal operational from 11 years to adulthood. Sensorimotor is characterized by infants acquiring knowledge through sensory experiences and manipulating objects. During this stage, children's cognitive systems are limited to motor reflexes. Some basic but very important reflexes found in this stage are sucking, rooting, and swallowing.
Rooting is one of the most critical reflexes. By touching 4-week-old Lily's cheek, she'll turn her head and open her mouth in preparation for nursing. Once the baby is in contact with a breast, a bottle, or even a finger, the sucking reflex takes over. Involuntary at first, the neonate will gradually gain control over sucking during the first year. Placing liquid in the mouth will induce the swallowing reflex.
By about 7 months, a child learns object permanence, the knowledge that an object still exists when the object isn't in view. Children learn what the appropriate actions are to communicate, and communicate by imitating what they see.
During the pre-operational stage at 2 to 7 years, a child can struggle with logic and taking the point of view of other people, or egocentrism, which is only viewing things through their own point of view. They don't understand that their parents are someone else's child, and they have an inability to reason. Children start to use mental imagery through the use of language. The best way for a child to learn language is through reading aloud to them and talking or singing with them. Mental imagery is also how children learn through pretend play, such as talking to imaginary friends or playing house. A concept during the pre-operational stage is theory, or when children ask why a lot and usually ask questions about human behavior or witnessed phenomena.
The concrete operational stage begins at age 7 through age 11. This stage occurs when the child becomes capable of thinking and taking another person's point of view. This is called theory of mind and is the opposite of egocentrism. Reason is also applied at this stage, although the child is unable to understand abstract concepts. They deal with facts alone. The child also begins to understand the 7 types of conservation, which Piaget lists as the conservation of numbers, liquid, length, mass, weight, area, and volume. They become logical and systematic in their thinking.
Okay, you ready? Yeah. Okay. Does this row have more quarters? Does this row have more quarters, or do they have the same?
1, 2, 3. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're both the same.
They're the same?
5, 5.
Okay. Okay. Does this row have more quarters? Does this row have more, or do they have the same?
This one has more.
That one has more quarters?
Yeah.
Why does this row have more quarters?
Because it's more far away.
It's more far away?
Yeah, it's more far away than that. Looks bigger.
The formal operational stage starts at age 11 or 12 and continues through adulthood. They think logically, theoretically, and abstractly to solve problems. This is the ultimate stage of development. Humans become self-motivators. Although Piaget believed not everyone will reach this stage.
Although Piaget does not directly relate his theory to methods of teaching, later researchers feel that Piaget's theory is a vital part of the application of education and educational policy. In 1966, for example, the United Kingdom government prompted a review of their primary education based strongly in Piaget's theories, leading to the Plowden Report in 1967, which was a report emphasizing children as individuals, the use of environment and play, curriculum flexibility, and addressing issues with IQ testing and UK primary education.
Education became more student-centered, and it allowed teachers to put students in situations in classrooms to help teach them new schemas and grow cognitively.
There have been various criticisms about Piaget's work, including his age ranges, because he believed that development occurred in individual stages and not as a continuous loop, which Vygotsky and Brunner do believe. Vygotsky also criticizes Piaget's work because he does not include information about culture and its influence on the child's development.
Additional criticisms include Piaget's way of gathering his data. He did use his own children a lot when he was gathering his data, and he also analyzed his data primarily by himself. An additional criticism on top of that is that Piaget really came from a more observational method when trying to develop his theories. As we have seen throughout this course, there have been debates on whether or not purely observational methods are effective. These criticisms of Piaget's theories are still learned in various classes today and are a big part of American educational systems. So we hope you enjoyed this video, this Piaget edition of Draw My Life. If you do have any questions, please see us after class.